Hello and good evening students, and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. So let us take a look at the questions we have lined up for you today in our daily quiz. The first question is, how many of the following statements are true regarding the National Disaster Mitigation Fund? It was mentioned in the country's first Disaster Management Act of 2005. It was established for the first time in the year 2021. The state disaster mitigation funds are to be established with contributions from only the states. We have taken this question because our Union Home Minister, who is also the Minister of Cooperation, Shri Amit Shah, he chaired a meeting with the various ministers of disaster management of the states and the Union territories on 13th June. Now the National Disaster Mitigation Fund. This fund, it did find a mention in our Disaster Management Act of 2005, which was passed after the 2004 tsunami hit the country. However, up until the year 2021, this mitigation fund did not come into being. In a written reply to a question in Rajya Sabha, the then Minister of States for Home Affairs in the year 2016 stated that the objective of creation of National Disaster Mitigation Fund is for projects exclusively for the purpose of mitigation, which is being already served by existing centrally sponsored and central sector schemes. So there was no need to have a separate mitigation fund. However, in the year 2021, after realizing the importance of mitigation in disaster management strategies, this fund, it came into being. In the same year, the central government also asked the various states to set up their own state disaster mitigation funds. Now, both the center as well as the states, they contribute towards the state disaster mitigation funds. For the Himalayan and the northeastern states, this contribution is 90:10. 90% central and 10% state government. For the rest of the states, it is 75% center and 25% state governments. So if we go back to our question, this is true and this is true. This, however, is not true, and our correct answer is option B. The next question is, how many of the following pairs of puppetry art form and the state it belongs to are correctly matched? Ravan Chhaya, Odisha; Putul Nach, West Bengal; Tholu Bomalatta, Andhra Pradesh; and Katputli, Rajasthan. We have taken this question because in the editorial page of the Indian Express, an article has been published regarding puppetry as an art form and how this art form, it is in crisis. So puppetry, it was a very important art form of India, and there are four major different types of puppets that are used in India. We have the glove puppets, we have the rod puppets, shadow and string puppets. So these are the four types of puppets that are used in India, and there are various different names that are given to the art of puppetry in the various states. So if we go back to the question, yes, Ravan Chhaya is a puppetry art form of Odisha. Putul Nach is of West Bengal. Tholu Bomalatta, yes, it belongs to Andhra Pradesh, while Katputli, a name which is very common for puppetry in northern parts of India, is from Rajasthan. In the comments, can you state which type of puppetry it is, whether it is glove, rod, shadow or string? So our correct answer over here is option D. The next question is, which of the following statements are true? USA left UNESCO for the first time in the year 2018. China is the biggest donor of UNESCO right now. We have taken this question because the USA, it has made a decision to rejoin UNESCO after leaving it during the tenure of President Trump in 2018. So why did it leave it then? It left it then because of the alleged anti-Israel policies of the UNESCO. In 2011, UNESCO added Palestine as one of its member states, and since then there has been a tussle between USA and UNESCO. Now this was not the first time that USA left UNESCO. It left UNESCO once way back in the year 1984. Because at that time, USA thought that UNESCO is an agency that is mismanaged, corrupt, and it is advancing the Soviet interests. However, it rejoined in 2003 before leaving it once again in 2018. Now it again wants to rejoin UNESCO because it feels that the absence of USA has created a vacuum in UNESCO, which is now being filled by China. However, please note that China is not the top donor of UNESCO. According to the latest data available from 2023, the biggest donor of UNESCO is Sweden, followed by Netherlands, Norway, Iceland and France. So if we go back to our question, both these statements are incorrect and our correct answer over here is D. The fourth question is, Mayon Volcano, which has seen a recent eruption, is located in which of the following countries? Philippines, Indonesia, New Zealand, Tonga. Now recently there was this eruption of a volcano known as Mayon Volcano. Please note that this volcano, it is located in the Albay province of Philippines. Now please note that Philippines lies in the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is the region where most of the volcanoes of the world they exist. It is an active plate boundary of the world. So if we go back to our question, which is a very straightforward question, our answer is option A, that is Mayon Volcano belongs to Philippines. Now we come to a PYQ from the year 2015. Which of the following statements regarding Green Climate Fund is correct? It is intended to assist the developing countries in adaptation and mitigation practices to counter climate change. It is founded under the aegis of UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme, OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Asian Development Bank and the World Bank. Now the Green Climate Fund, it is a fund which is within the framework of the United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change. It was founded as a mechanism to redistribute money from the developed world to the developing world in order to assist the latter in adaptation and mitigation practices to counter climate change. So that means our first statement is correct. Now the fund is governed and supervised by a board that will have a full responsibility for funding decisions and that receives the guidance of the COP. So this is not a correct statement. It is under the guidance of COP, Conference of Parties of UNFCCC, that it has been established in. It is based in New Songdo district of Incheon in South Korea. So over here our correct answer is option A. Now we come to the fact of the day, which is about the 75 years of the UN peacekeeping efforts. The UN peacekeeping, it first began in the year 1948 and it celebrates in 2023 75 years of its establishment. It began then when the Security Council authorized the deployment of military observers to the Middle East. The role of this UN True Supervision Organization, also known as UNTSO, was to monitor the armistice agreement between Israel and its Arab neighbors. Since then, more than 2 million uniformed and civil personnel, they have served in 71 peacekeeping operations all across the world, contributing to the cause of international security, peace and progress for all. Now, UN peacekeeping efforts, it includes police forces, it includes military personnel, which are also known as blue hats, and it also includes civilians. In 1960, police officers were deployed to a peacekeeping mission for the first time to serve with the UN operation in Congo. Right now, up to 9,000 UN police officers from 90 countries protect vulnerable communities, strengthen the security sector and rule of law, and build the foundations for inclusive, effective and accountable police services. Also, more than 14,000 civilians, they serve in diverse roles in UN peacekeeping operations, including leading field missions, supporting political and peace processes, promoting and protecting human rights, helping strengthen the rule of law, and communicating with communities affected by conflicts. Now, the blue hats or the UN military personnel, they are deployed in the most remote and dangerous locations where they help prevent violence and protect citizens, and facilitate safe delivery of humanitarian aid and build peace. So right now 70,000 military personnel from national armies around the world, they serve in 12 UN peacekeeping missions. Also please note that since the year 1997, UN Mine Action Service UNMAS has also helped reduce the threat of explosive hazards in the conflict zones. Right now, it works in 21 operations to destroy explosive devices and remnants of war, to protect communities, enable delivery of humanitarian aid, and ensure the safe passage of the UN peacekeeping forces. It also assists victims, provides risk education, and advocates for a world free of mines. On 29th May every year, the International Day of UN Peacekeepers is celebrated. Now, India, it has been one of the top troop contributing nations to the UN peacekeeping operations, and we have contributed approximately 2.75 lakh troops to the mission so far. We started our cooperation in the 1950s during the Korean War. And right now, there are approximately 5,900 Indian peacekeepers that are serving around the world on various peacekeeping operations, including the female engagement teams who work with women and children which are affected by conflicts. So that is all about today's daily quiz. I hope you were able to understand all the concepts. So do not forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such content. Thank you very much and have a very good day ahead.